welcome to D.O.P.E Conversations. I'm so excited, as always, to be here, and we are looking forward to a great show. And today our focus is on student affairs and what that looks like for our students, but also what that looks like for faculty and staff in taking a role in our students' futures. So today I have here with me Dr. Copeland from Student Affairs. I thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and then we have a freshman representative. She is Joy Smith, and I'm glad to have her, but she's also running for president. So we're going to give her a little opportunity at the end of the show to tell us, why should you be president?
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Dr. Copeland, so
yes,
what brought you to this role? I know you told me briefly that you started off actually on the academic side of the house, and now you're on the whole other side of the house. How did that happen?
Well. So yes, I started out as an assistant professor in the College of Agriculture and Human Sciences, and that's in 2013, and worked my way through the academic realms. Was a program coordinator, a didactic program director, the Speaker of the Faculty Senate.
Wow.
And then I transitioned over to be the assistant to the president for strategic initiatives and also liaison to the Texas A&M University system. And so from her office, then I transitioned from her office over to student affairs. I always like to say I go center and then over.
Gotcha.
So that's how I ended up in student affairs. But student affairs, coming to student affairs wasn't a job that I thought about. It was a no-brainer for me. I'm a faculty member, and dealing with stuff with faculty, advocating for faculty was something that I was quite comfortable, a space I was comfortable in. Hence, I was a Speaker of the Faculty Senate. But as a faculty member, you do so much for students, not even realizing that you are doing some of the bedrock and the foundation work of student affairs, right? I've built programs, I've taken students on conferences nationally, and also internationally. I've taken students on study abroad. And so some of the things that I did as a faculty member are some of the same things that I'm advocating for and I'm doing now for students, only on a wider scale, for more students.
That's
so
good.
For all of our students, instead of just for nutrition students.
That's good. And I can see exactly what you're saying. Even though you were working in a faculty capacity, speaking for faculty, you still were helping students.
Yes.
Because that's our whole purpose, is to help students. We're here for the student.
Right. And for their success. So, as a faculty member, your goal, your job is to see your students succeed.
Right.
And so you will do anything and whatever you have to do for that to happen. Right. So coming over in student affairs, it wasn't such a big shock for me because those were some of the things that I was already doing on the faculty side. But it gives me great pleasure. It's a job that I adore. After starting the job, I realized that I'm the best person for this position because I absolutely love the opportunity to be that advocate for the students, to create programs, to create opportunities for them. And so I cherish and value that every single day.
That's good. Yeah. And we're lucky to have one of our shining stars here today. Joy Smith, welcome to PV. As a freshman, you have hit the ground running, and it was a no-brainer to have you on the show, so thank you. What brought you to PV? What was the deciding factor? You said, you know what, that's the place that I'm going to call home.
Well, my family has all been to Prairie View. My sister recently graduated not too long ago, and so I was pretty young, but I was old enough to really enjoy the campus whenever I visited with her. So I really fell in love with it whenever I came, and my mom loved it when she came, and my great aunt over 100 years ago loved it when she came.
Wow.
So yeah, this is definitely the place to be.
So now I wonder, did you really have a choice?
No.
Because
No.
you seem like a legacy, and I don't know if you would have had a home if you didn't come to PV.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have a home. Yeah, because my second option was definitely TSU, but that was a backup option.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have chose TSU as my first option, I definitely would have been kicked out.
Well, I'm glad you chose to stay and have peace at the house.
Yes.
So we're glad to have you a part of the Panther family.
Thank you.
What are some of the things that you have been involved in since you've been here?
I have been involved in, as she said before, I'm running for SGA president, class president. I've also been involved in Panther Camp. Panther Camp has definitely been a nice introduction to freshman year, and I've also been involved into Summer Bridge.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. And I remember you speaking very highly about Summer Bridge, and I'm going to let you speak about that in your experience later on, because I think that's very important to know exactly how can you transition from high school to college. And I think Summer Bridge is a wonderful program to do that. And now, Dr. Copeland,
Yes.
what are some of the programs that you have already planned for freshmen?
So freshmen, we recently hired a person who is now over orientation, first and second year experience.
Okay.
And so he's in the process of planning a number of programs for first year students.
Oh, okay.
And so his name is Dr. Wash Jones.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure where he is in the planning process. I know he's working on a number of things to include. We have a new program that's funded through the coordinating board, and it's called it's a scholars program. And so he just recently went on a training program with that. And so he has a number of programs that he's working with first year students, but he started this position on June 1st.
Okay.
And so
He's transitioning.
He's literally transitioning, and he too is coming from the faculty side. So we'll give him a few months to get his foot wet and get on the ground with some of the programs that he's running for first year students. But we do have a number of I want to talk mostly about the resources that we have for our students. So I don't know if
that's good. Yeah, so this is a good time because I don't want to interrupt you during that part.
Right.
We're going to go ahead and go to break. We'll go to break and give a chance for them to get some water and catch their breath, because I know we hit you with a lot of stuff just now. But when we come back, we'll hear about all the resources that we have for all of the students, first year, transfer, maybe some graduate student stuff in there. So give us a minute or two and come on back, and we'll hear from Dr. Copeland soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. welcome back. We are ready to jump into the great things here at PV and what we're doing in the student affairs side, and I can't wait to hear what Dr. Copeland has to share. So what are some of the resources that are available to the student body?
So I will talk about some in student affairs, but I might also expand to talk about other resources within the university that I would like students to be familiar with and to utilize. So within student affairs, we have the counseling center. That's one area that we really want students to take advantage of. A lot of our students are struggling now.
Yeah.
Again, we have gone through a lot with the pandemic and trying to come out of that.
Right.
So we have counseling. We have also telecounseling. So for students who probably have to work or who are not able to have a face-to-face counseling session, we do have opportunity for them to participate in telecounseling.
Oh, that's good.
Right? We have the recreational center there. We're hoping that students can go and will go utilize that opportunity to relieve stress. I'm a person that works out, so the gym is very important to me. So, and I know it's important to a lot of our students.
Right.
And we have the recreation. Within the recreational center, we also have the bowling center.
Okay.
Right, so that's another facility that students can take advantage of. On support side, we have a program that we started just last semester. It's called the Panther Meal Share Program.
Okay.
And this is an opportunity for students who do not have a meal plan or for students who do not have meals when they're on campus to get meals.
Oh, that's great.
So all they simply have to do is complete a very short survey and request meals, and those meals are uploaded to their student ID card.
Oh, that's
and they
great.
go to the cafeteria and have meals just like any other students.
That's
right?
wonderful, because people don't realize just because they're in college does not mean they have the means to eat.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
a lot of people don't know this as well. We have a small homeless community that attends colleges, and those communities, it's hard to think when you are hungry.
Right.
And so to provide that to our students is wonderful. How do they get access? If they go to pvamu.com or .edu, they'll be able to find it on there?
So we've sent it out to students.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where it's on the website. I think they sent it out in e-courses.
Okay, good.
I think it's posted somewhere there, but we also do send it out to students. We send it out to the SGA.
Okay.
And so we try to distribute it widely where students have an opportunity. I know a number of students, the last list I saw, I think sometimes earlier this week, was over 100 and something students that applied for that program.
Oh, that's
and have been
wonderful.
awarded swipes so far. Yeah, not every student have access to food the way they should.
Right.
So along that line, along with the Panther Meal Share Program, we also have the Hilltop Reserves.
Okay.
And that's within student affairs just the same. And it's basically a food pantry.
Okay.
But as Dr. Moore liked to say, it's not just a food pantry, because they provide other resources for students. So it could be clothing, it could be toiletries, right? So they have a wide range of
This is good.
supplies over there for a student. And we also have a basic needs survey that we run from Student Affairs. And so this is a survey that captures the out of classroom needs for students. So what happens inside of the classroom, we all most times are aware of that.
Right.
But what does a student need outside of the classroom in order to be successful? That will impact what happens and what takes place in the classroom.
Right.
And so that survey, again, it asks students, it gather information on students living, right, their living situation, gather information on their transportation. So just those, whether or not they have computer, right, because those things can impact whether or not students attend classes, whether or not they're doing their schoolwork. And from that information, again, we go through, evaluate, analyze those surveys, and then we provide resources to the students based on what they are asking for.
That warms my heart that we are not just worried about the student on the inside of the classroom. So I think that's very important what you said, and I want to just expound on that for just a second. Is if they are not taken care of on the outside of the classroom, they may not go inside of the classroom. So I think it's important that they do have a place to get food, clothing, those things that are necessities of life, so they can do well in the classroom.
Yeah. And so that's important to us. Another thing, this is not operated or run from student affairs, but I want students to be aware of it, that we do have transportation system.
Okay.
Right? Transportation provides services to students to local grocery stores. I know they go to Hempstead and to Cypress, right? And I want students to be aware of that. I ran into a student walking across campus, and he told me his mother was concerned because he was eating 1 meal per day. And I asked him why, and he says he doesn't like to spend money because he doesn't have money, but then and again he doesn't have transportation to go to the grocery store. And I'm like, yeah, we do have transportation that will take you to the grocery store, and of course I brought him into student affairs and provided him resources on that.
So how can a student get aware of how to use that transportation? They go to student affairs?
They can come to student affairs, and they also can go to transportation auxiliary services.
Okay. So
the transportation is under auxiliary services. Okay. And so we are working on making some form of very short document, booklet, that will provide students the resources right then and there. And, you know, I must say, we do send some of these out via emails. Our students don't always read their emails, but we have to find a way to communicate these to students because they're important, right? Other resources that I want to focus on, that I would like students to participate and to take advantage of. I walked past the writing center inside this building, right? Tutoring is another important one that would really like our students to take advantage of. And so those work hand in hand with what goes on in the classroom. I am interested in what goes on in the classroom and also what goes on outside of the classroom.
I think your background lends to that.
Yes, because a student, they come here for first and foremost to attain an education. And so while we are concerned within student affairs about the total student, the well-being and the experience that the student gets, I am interested in them completing their degree.
That's awesome.
So,
Joy, I want to ask you, as a student, and I know you've heard some of the resources that Dr. Copeland has shared, what of those resources have you had an opportunity to use? And then tell me one or two that you're excited about using that you didn't know about.
Yes, the tutoring services, I always use the tutoring services, especially because I'm not really good at math. I'm great at every other subject but math, but I definitely use the tutoring services for that. And I also have a partner that that I go with as well, so we can keep each other accountable.
Oh, that's good.
That's what I learned from your class, to have an accountability partner.
Yes.
Also, what I'm excited to use, I didn't know that there was transportation to Walmart, because I've just been using my friends that have cars, because my mom won't let me bring my car till next semester. So, yeah.
So now you're going to be heading over to student affairs, huh?
Yeah. Student affairs.
That's good. I think a lot of students, like you said, they may not be aware of these services because one reason or another, not checking emails or whatever, but I think if you can tell your accountability partner and you start sharing with your classes, that information, we got to get it out through word of mouth and experience. So when you experience those services, share them with your friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think another one that I want to point out is the commuter lounge. We have a commuter lounge in May Hall for commuting students. And so we have a space there where they can go and relax, and I know they should have snacks in there. And a number of our students have walked over there because we were doing some renovation of that center to make certain that it's comfortable for students. And I've noticed that day when I went over there, there were a number of students.
Wow.
Right,
That's
inside.
So we have a commuter lounge.
Yes, we do.
As a commuter student myself, I
Yes.
know how frustrating that could be if you have a class, say early morning, and then you have a class day
Yeah.
and you have all this space, you may not want to go to the
Right.
library. You may
Right.
not want to go to the MSC. So now there is a space. And what building is it again?
It's in May Hall.
Okay, May
So I
Hall.
don't remember the number, but it's in May Hall, and they have a computer lab.
Okay.
And I hope I'm not talking too fast, because the last time I went, they were about to put the computers in there. So by now it should be up and running, where they have computers for students. So not only comfortable seats where they can sit, right? They should have a television in there. The students had asked for a whiteboard, and that should be in there where they can basically do their work and probably team teach and study, right?
Okay.
So a number of resources the university basically has that I would really like students to take advantage of.
That's good. Have there been any of these resources that were not in existence before COVID, but since COVID, it's like, okay, we're going to keep this because this was really good?
Well, yes, for sure. We did not have telecounseling before COVID. So that's one thing. My background is nutrition. I've worked as a clinical dietitian. And I remember when we were starting the conversation about telemedicine, and we were doing papers on telemedicine, and it just looked strange back then.
Right.
Like telemedicine, who's going to sit before a computer to talk to a doctor or a dietitian? And now it's the norm.
It's the norm.
Right. So now I don't see us going back to a day when we do not have these type of services.
Yeah.
So counseling, definitely telecounseling is one of them that we will continue to have way beyond COVID, for sure.
I think that's important because you mentioned off air when we were just chatting, our students have been through a lot.
Yeah.
They have gone through COVID, but even before that, there's just something that we experience as low-income poverty students sometimes that we don't have access to and we need. And to have that service that I don't have to go to the building to get help. I can call you from my dorm if I feel like I just can't move. Because sometimes you just feel like I can't move.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, again, as you said, taking care of the total student.
The total student.
You can't just educate them. We have to worry about the total student, and that's including mental health. And so to have that service is something that I'm proud to say that our university offers.
Yeah, and I want to make a pitch to students that you should reach out to someone, get help. We have resources on campus. You do not have to struggle alone. You do not have to suffer alone.
Yeah.
We really want students to get help. Something else that I would be remiss if I don't mention is a mental health campaign that was launched on Monday.
Oh, okay. Tell us more.
And so this mental health campaign, again, is to normalize mental health. So it was launched by the Health Center on the Dr. Tandra Moore. And she has a number of videos out there with different students talking about different situations that they've been through, but encouraging students to get help.
That's good.
Right? And so those resources are out there. We just send the link out to students. It should have gone out to students today. Each student should receive that link in their personal email. And it's posted on the Health Service Center website. It should be on the counseling website. And it's out there on social media. So watch those videos, get help. You do not have to struggle alone. You do not have to suffer alone. We are all in this together.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'm going to be very intentional in class, and you'll be able to hold me accountable. I'm going to share that with my students because I think, especially going into the holiday season, when you start thinking about people losing loved ones, and holidays are not always joyful for everybody. And I think sometimes those of us who have not lost someone during the holiday season take for granted that holiday seasons are joyful. Sometimes those seasons can be dreaded by students.
Yes.
And I think this will be a good time as faculty, if you have the opportunity during class, take 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes of class, and just share these resources because, again, we know they may not get it in their email, but from a faculty member, especially, we've built those relationships. I think they will receive it from us. What do you think as a student?
As a student, yes. It's very important to feel that your teacher or your professor wants you to be not only successful in the classroom, but successful as an individual with your mental health.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a a good point. I'm glad you shared that.
And I'm happy that you brought up the holiday. Last year we fed students over Thanksgiving. It was the first time that we were doing a Thanksgiving dinner on campus on Thanksgiving Day. I was very intentional about it because I remember being an international student, and of course Thanksgiving was new to me, but at the same time everyone would go home, they would go home to their families, and then I had no one to go, nowhere to go, no family here to go home to. So I thought about that, and the number of students who might be on campus who do not get the opportunity, who might have family members but can't travel to them, or who simply do not have family members. So last Thanksgiving, in partnership with Sodexo, who sponsored the meal, we provided Thanksgiving dinners to students on campus, and I think we fed over 400 students on Thanksgiving Day, and we're hoping to do the same thing this year.
Wow, you know, that's a large number that people, when you said that, I'm thinking, oh, maybe like 50 students are on campus at this time. 400 is a big part of our population.
Yeah, and so we even some of those students were band students. We don't even think about them, right? They had to be here. And so just imagine, it doesn't matter what the circumstance. If you're not with your family during such a personal time, right, an important time, it can feel daunting. It can feel, again, depressing, right, if you are not with your family and alone. And we don't want students to feel that way. So our job is to support students whichever way, however we can, and to let them know that we are here for them and in support of them.
That's good. Joy, I want to ask you, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. Can you think of anything, you know, just being a student and now running for office, can you think of anything that you may want student affairs to consider from the student point of view that you may not be getting or may need more awareness of? Maybe say, hey, can you announce the counseling sessions a little bit more? Something that you can say, as a student, I wish we had this.
It's a little off topic from mental health and definitely, like, you know, the needs. It's more like a want, but it will be very helpful.
Okay.
Definitely, it's called scooter stations.
Oh.
And there's this thing downtown that you can like not necessarily rent, but you can like get a scooter and you can ride it to wherever you need to go, and then you can plug it back in another station. It doesn't have to necessarily be a station that you got it from, but that would be so very helpful with how large this campus is. And honestly, like I would be so willing to help even raise the money for it.
I can hear the applause coming from the student body right now, like, yes. Do you know what she's referring to? I went to downtown, and they have these little places where you, like she literally, like she said, you can ride and then just park it wherever.
Yes.
So, like.
So you know what? I am smiling because there is a student who is away right now on a break.
Okay.
He's a Apple Care student, and his name is Demario.
Okay.
And he would be probably very pleased to know that you feel that way about scooters, but he also would be very irritated because he actually developed his own scooters on campus. But again, we are state institutions with a lot of rules, and so I think the last time he was working through it with contracts or business affairs, so I'm not sure how far they got, but he is away right now. But he literally developed his own business. I think we piloted scooters on campus before, but the campus, I think the pilot results showed that the campus, because of the uneven surface, it could be dangerous for students. So that's one of the issues that probably one would have to work through. But I hear you, and
Thank you.
we don't know. Maybe one day your wishes will come to fruition, but I hear you.
It looks like Demario's working on that.
Yeah.
Demario, we're going to send you positive energy, and we hope that you succeed. And I'm pretty sure if you need some students to even out the pavement, they might be willing to help if they can get a scooter.
If he gets this video, he'll be very pleased. So he's away. He's at Apple in California, and he's just a smart student. I'm so proud of him.
So we're going to have to make sure we get him this. Yeah, we're going to take a quick break and come back and wrap up our show. But think of ways you can help DeMario get on board with even out these sidewalks. We'll be back. Welcome back. I thank you again, Dr. Copeland. This has been so fruitful. I learned a lot of things about the campus that I did not know, and Joy also expressed some things that she did not know. So, Dr. Copeland, we're going to give Joy a moment to speak to her students, her fellow students, and tell them why she should be the freshman class president for SGA. Now, you're on. This is all you. What you got?
So, freshman class, I am Joy Smith. I'm a marketing major with a minor in journalism. I would love to be your freshman class president. My campaign is going to be inclusivity, growth, and knowledge. Inclusivity, I want people to feel included, whether you're social or not social, whether you've had the college experience already or you felt like you haven't. I want everybody to feel included, and I want to host events that makes people feel like they have that college experience. Growth and knowledge, I will be inviting speakers and people that want to come and talk to you, and so you can soak up all that good knowledge and even have opportunities for just freshmen alone, because I know not a lot of businesses have those opportunities for freshmen. So I want the freshman class to be the best class that comes out of Prairie View. And so I want them to be successful in all ways. And that is my campaign.
Well, I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
If I could vote for you, I would. And I'm not biased because I'm your professor, maybe a little bit. But that's good. You have a whole platform and everything. I thought you was going to get up here and just say, vote for me. You was ready.
Yes, it's on my posters, inclusivity, growth, and knowledge.
Okay, so when you see her posters, no, this is Joy.
Yes.
When did they vote?
They vote September 26th. It's from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's not 3:01. It's not 7:59, because they're going to close it right at 3 p.m.
Okay.
It's going to be on www.pvpawlink.com, and you're going to log in. Everyone that goes here should have a login here. And you're going to type in the organization SGA, and the voting thing should be there.
And what's your name again?
I'm Joy Smith.
All right.
Joy.
Thank you very much, Ms. Smith.
You.
All right. This is what this is about.
Yes.
This is what this school is about. Giving students the empowerment to run their freshman year for office. Giving students the resources that they need to feel like they can run, so they can be successful on the outside and so they of the classroom, but also successful inside the classroom. I thank both of y'all for coming.
Thank you.
How can they follow you on social media?
On my Instagram, it is JoySmithHC. And then on my Twitter, it is JoySmithH30.
Awesome.
Yes.
And Dr. Copeland, how do they make an appointment with you to come during your office hours? If they want to bring up a concern, what's the best way to communicate with you? How do they reach out to you?
So I have an open door policy. I have office hours on Monday between 3 to 5 for any student who would want to come and have a meeting with me. My assistant is very good at scheduling them. My office is located in A.I. Thomas Building, Suite 101. My email address is bmcopeland, COPELAND, @pvamu.edu. So feel free to send me an email, stop by and see me. I will be more than happy to have a conversation with you. And it doesn't always have to be when you have an issue or in trouble or anything like that.
Right.
But you could just stop by and see me and let's have a conversation about your future and where you would like to go and how I can be of assistance.
And y'all, when I tell y'all she is the person to talk to, she's been here 9 years and has done some amazing things. I'm impressed by your CV myself, and I'm just like, you've only been here 9 years, and she's done all of this. This is amazing.
Thank
So
you.
I want you to tune in to us next week. We're going to have Shantae Moore with the Office of Student Engagement. We wanted to bring her on to talk about all the great organizations that are around. I think it's a great time of year to join, get involved, especially if you're a freshman. This is a great time to network so you can learn the things that you like. Because yes, you may be a business major, but you also may be creative. So you want to feed all of those parts of you. So tune in next week when we have Ms. Moore on to talk about student engagement. But I also have a treat for y'all. On Thursday, we will actually have 2 shows. So she will be our 4 p.m. show, but we will also have a 10 a.m. show with Kevin Powell. He will be on to talk about his new residency here in our writing and literature department, and I'm so excited to talk about him. I was a Real World fan, so that's how I found out about him, but he has done so much more since then. He's a poet, he's an activist, he's a writer, but also he is just an all-around cool person. So tune in next week. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Bakita Pegram, and I look forward to meeting you, talking to you. Leave us some feedback. Tell us what you want to hear and what you want to talk about. Other than that, thank you again, my
Thank
lovely
you.
guest.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week. Bakita
Great.
out.